All right, you've watched your child go from 0 to a meltdown in 10 seconds flat. You've tried the deep breathing, the calm down corner, the sticker charts, the therapy wait lists, the probably 3 different parenting books along the way, and nothing holds for a long period of time. What if your kids are actually mirroring your nervous system? No, we don't have to get crazy meltdowns or temper tantrums, but we could be dysregulated as well. It's not always about what we say or which parenting strategy we use. Sometimes it's physiologically. And that's where when you're running on caffeine, broken sleep, and 3 years of survival mode, your kid feels it before you have said a single thing to them. Their heart rate, their breathing rate, their stress hormones literally calibrate and coincide with yours. Now, it's not that we're blaming you. It's all about biology. And that biology is something that nobody has discussed with you in a parenting book. Once you understand what's really happening between your nervous system and theirs, everything starts to shift. Not just for the child, but for the entire family. Because the real secret to your child's regulation is not another therapy session. It's not another evaluation. It's not another medication. It's not another diagnosis. It's literally sitting with you in the exact same room as you are in there with them right now. This video is for parents who have done everything the right way, in the right order, yet you still feel like you're white knuckling it through every dinner, every drop off, every bedtime, and you're finally ready to look at the missing piece that not a single provider or doctor has been brave enough to put on the table. In the next few minutes, parents, you're going to learn some valid information. You're going to learn about the nervous system as the foundation of your child's behavior, what co-regulation really is, and why it's biological and nothing to do with behavioral. We're going to discuss this perfect storm that literally shapes mom and dad's nervous system just as it has the child's, and why scanning technology and neurologically focused adjustments for the entire family will change the dynamic inside the home. Now, today, 1 in 5 children have a mental, emotional, or behavioral condition. I want you to let that set in for a second. 1 out of 5 of our children has a mental, emotional, or behavioral condition as a child. This is unheard of. When I was a child, there was no such thing as children having emotional or mental issues. Sure, there was the naughty kid who would do bad things, but generally that wasn't something that was abnormal given the environment of the child's home. Today, it's a very different conversation. And that's where most clinical conversations miss these studies on co-regulation, which reveal that the parent's nervous system is the template for their children. They synchronize the heart rate, the breathing mechanisms, the muscle tension. Heart rate variability is a test that actually coincides with mom and child. Now, in my practice, I see this all the time. I had a mom, we're just going to call her Sarah, and she had a 6-year-old son in practice. Now, after 12 weeks of his care, his daily meltdowns dropped to weekly. Really helpful, strong progress, but there was still not a full breakthrough. Then it came where a team member in my office suggested to mom, hey, let's get you scanned, let's see what's going on. There's got to be a missing piece to this puzzle, because really after 12 weeks, we should see some more consistent change in growth and development. Now, here's the thing, is that just as suspected, and this is something that we see across the board, is that mom's scans look nearly identical to her son. Once Sarah started care, her regulation steadied, and his remaining meltdowns dropped from 2-hour battles to like 20 minutes. His teacher was like, whoa, something's going on different with this little boy. And that right there is huge. Now, I'm going to explain this because co-regulation is biological. It is not behavioral. So when your child's brain is wired to mirror yours through mirror neurons, this is where co-regulation happens. Their breathing, their heart rate, their stress response synchronizes with yours in real time. So when you're regulated, their body learns the pathway back to calm. When you're stuck in fight or flight, their system locks in there too. This is automatic. It's not optional. And this is how human brains are built. Now, here's the thing. Parents who have perfect storm kiddos, They are the most dysregulated, disoriented group of people out there. Now I want to explain this. When a parent who loves their child unconditionally, the parent is the one staying up countless days a week, looking on social media, looking on ChatGPT for answers to why their children is not getting better. The parent is the most dysregulated. And in most households, it is one parent staying up who can't sleep, whereas the other parent has different focuses. And it's not to say that one is better than the other, it's just how it is networked. And historically, it is mom, the provider of the household, the person who runs all the stuff with the kids, whereas dad, his focus is more on work and financial stability for the household. So what happens is that the perfect storm that created the dysregulation in the child is the same perfect storm that shapes the adult to mirror image the child's behavior in different contexts and different expressions. So you got to remember, prenatal stress is one of the biggest fundamentals of this perfect storm. The environment of mom and dad's health prior to conception will shape the environment of that child from the very beginning. So what happens is a lot of parents have a lot of baggage. And I see baggage when it comes to fertility stress, where mom and dad may have gone through some miscarriages, gone through some stressors with prior pregnancies. They are having major stress with their goal of that family stability. And yet that stress is never resolved, never dealt with. It just passes on. And if that pregnancy is successful with a child who is born, then that just gets shelved to the side. Then we look at birth trauma. And you have to remember, physical, chemical, or emotional stress that mom goes through is the same stress that the baby goes through. So let's look at Pitocin or a epidural or pain medication during the birth experience. That not only dysregulates chemically how the baby is born, but also agitates the environment of mom. Then we look at interventions like forceps or vacuum extraction. That physical extraction, that physical trauma is not only affecting the baby's nervous system, but it oftentimes affects mom because it alters her birth plan. Nobody goes into a hospital and says, excuse me, I would like a double dose of an epidural. I'd like 2 separate inductions just in case the first one doesn't work. I would like to be rushed into an emergency C-section. Oh, and please, can we make sure that my baby doesn't breastfeed? No, nobody goes in there with that mindset. So when birth trauma happens, it affects and dysregulates everyone. Then we look at all these years of this go mode, where neurologically there is a footprint where the more rushed our environment is, the more stress that we see. Chronic sympathetic dominance quietly becomes the new baseline that you stop noticing, meaning that when your nervous system is stuck in fight, flight, or flee, it creates an environment that is dysregulated. Now the difference is that you can have a dysregulated adult who is functioning perfectly fine. However, deep down inside, you can tell that they're not sleeping, they're not digesting, they're not eating healthy food, they're not exercising, they're always stressed, they can't sleep. These are the standard norm for parents. And then we have a dysregulated kiddo who's a sensory-seeking, sensory-challenged individual. And that child is also in an environment that is also sympathetic dominant. So it creates different expressions in each adult and child, but the underlying neurological cause is very similar. So a nervous system that's stuck in overdrive cannot model calm, collected behavior, no matter what you do or how hard you try. You're processing stress in the wrong way because you've downloaded their stress into your everyday mechanism. So when you are rushing to get the children ready for school, the kids are stressed and dysregulated and mirror the stress and dysregulation that the parent has. The only difference is that most parents have learned to hide it a little bit better than the kiddos that they're dealing with. However, when it comes to healing, unless the environment is calm and collected, healing has a really hard time picking up its momentum. Now, when you calm your nervous system, it is your child's best therapy. Heart rate variability between regulated parents and kids, it actually synchronizes together. Your steady breathing becomes a template their brainstem can copy. They mirror image your behavior. A hand on their shoulder, a slow exhale, and soft tone. These speak louder than words. You've all observed this, where somebody walks into a room in a dysregulated, angry, disoriented state. It changes the environment of everyone without them having to say a single word. Subconsciously, this might be happening in your household as well. Less talking, more presence. Their language brain, it goes offline during these meltdowns. And that's where your regulation is their roadmap home. You have to remember that a meltdown is not a behavioral factor. A meltdown is where their nervous system takes overdrive. It literally occupies their capacity to make decisions. When that happens, it's going to dysregulate mom or dad. And especially when that child goes back to normal, happy, watching an iPhone at the grocery store, mom or dad, you're still stressed out to the max. You're still looking around to see who observed what was going on. And you're then going to take that stress home because you're going to talk about it with your spouse. You're going to talk about it with your friends. And that consistency really hardwires that stress mode into your nervous system. Now, in my practice and in most PX clinics, we get families scanned together, and it makes a dramatic change because the INSiGHT neurological scans, they measure exactly how each nervous system is functioning. We look at heart rate variability, neurospinal tension, and inflammatory patterns for every individual. Each person gets a different but very specific gentle adjustment that restores the vagal tone and releases stored physical tension throughout the entire body and each and every family member. Siblings stop triggering one another. Bedtimes soften and get to be more relaxed. Mornings stop feeling like a battle zone and super chill and happy. The family heals together because the family's nervous systems are connected. It's the way God designed the body. You cannot pour calm from an empty cup. Your child does not need more strategies, more diagnosis, or more medical appointments. They just need a regulated nervous system in the room with them. And it really does start with you, mom and dad. Here at Maximize Chiropractic in Sacramento, we serve the entire family and we scan everyone as well. Because co-regulation is not biology. It is biology, it is not behavioral. And when we start replacing that one specific factor, we can unlock the changes and restrictions in your child's nervous system. So it's time to start healing together instead of healing in isolation, because I'm telling you this right now, when one family member is focusing on healing and yet everyone else is thrown on the back burner, it doesn't work longevity-wise. It's like nutrition. If one person in the house is eating healthy, but everyone else is snacking on Doritos and M&Ms, it's going to come to a failure at some point. It's just not sustainable. So if you are looking to regulate the entire household versus just helping that one kiddo with a diagnosis, send us a DM. Book an appointment directly on our website at maximizechiropractic.com. Give our office a call, chat with one of our team members here in the office to go through our clinical process. Your family deserves hope, and your family also deserves help. We look forward to serving you.